day, everybody. We're here again. It's Startup and Innovators on the Atlanta Discuss channel. Yes, we bring to you a lot of startup and a lot of innovators. Today, this gentleman, yes, maybe a year, 2 or 3 ago, he will have been a startup, or even 5 years ago, he will have been a startup. Right now, he's an innovator. What's he innovating? Nothing new, but he's taking it to another level. He's teaching. Now, here we have a lot of flair for AI, you understand? And AI is endless, if you've ever had any opportunity to go to the ChatGPT, the Claude, everything the agentic have to offer, Anthropic World and all that, it's an endless story, it keeps evolving and God help us, all of a sudden you realize that there's so many things you can do without lawyers, maybe their appearing in court might be different, but then all of a sudden, too, doctors, you can also get a lot done with AI. But today, yes, I have my homeboy, Bayo Idowu, great guy. Bayo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you hear me well?
Loud and clear. He's been here
Okay.
before, we introduced him and all that. I'll do that again. But today we're going to talk about his new venture. He's been doing a lot of teaching on AI, a lot, as in from, he has this exclusive webinar that's been going on now. They're having more classes and all that. So now I know AI is not new, but it's not new to everybody. We've all heard it one way or the other. Some of us are vast in it, some of us semi-vast, some of us are just starters. But then, with expert like him, there's always something new to learn. So we're going to find out from him why he's embarking on those classes. Why is he teaching? What's the essence of it? What's the strategic importance of it? And how do we apply it? Then who are the people that are going to lose jobs? That's the question I keep getting. And I'm sure there's always going to answer without using the word scaling, because those that I hear people that lose their job with AI are people that are not scaling. So don't let me do all the talking. I leave it to him. But before I let him do all the talking, I'm sure for those of you seeing him for the first time, let me just tell you a little bit about him, because we want him to tell us about AI. We don't want him to talk about himself. He's done that before. But for those of you just knowing him, Bayo Idowu is a global business leader, cybersecurity strategist, an entrepreneur recognized for driving digital information and innovation across industries. So he has held senior roles in United Bank for Africa, that's in Nigeria, First City Monument Bank, also in Nigeria, Secure ID, also in Nigeria, and later with Liberty Mutual, that's in Boston, Massachusetts, United States, GCI in Alaska, Alorica, that's in California, and a vast resource group in Atlanta, Georgia. So you see, the very diverse, managing cybersecurity and digital risk project for Fortune 500 clients, including American Express, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and AT&T and Verizon. So he's the man for the job, clearly. He graduated of University of Lagos, the University of Ibadan, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That's the almighty MIT. Bio holds top cybersecurity and project management certification, including but not limited to the CISSP, CISM, CISA, that's CRICS, PMP, that's project management, AWS, CCSP. I'm currently working on his PhD in cybersecurity A+1. So he founded the Profile Fact Protocol, that's profilefact.org. You can check that out. He's the main man there, a background investigation and training firm serving leading corporation. And the Reverend Idowu Foundation, which he did for his memory of his great, fantastic dad. That's reverendidowufoundation.com. So it gives back to humanity, never forget where you're from, which provides full university scholarship to underprivileged students in Nigeria in honor of his late father. So we can go on. Okay, Bayo, passionate creator beyond the boardroom. Bayo developed two unique hot sauces. Yes, he's into food too. That's how we say industry. Yeah, I'm talking like when you say industry, a man of many places. So with two unique sauces, Beyus and Nle. I hope I pronounced that right. Inspired by his mother, those are hitting the market before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is around the corner. I'm sure there's some in the market already, I think. But I think we discussed that the last time. So at the heart of his current work is the Career Minds Academy, which is the bulk of what we're going to talk about today. That's www.thecareerminds.org, a leading cybersecurity training and professional development institution. Through Career Minds, Bayo equips individual and organization with skills, knowledge, and leadership capacity to thrive in this digital age. Don't we all need that? Okay, bridging the global cybersecurity talent gap and empowering professionals to secure meaningful and future-ready careers. So it's versatile, clearly. I mean, that's definitely not an embellishment. It's resilience and relentless. It's always embarking on something new at every point in time, relentlessly driven. Bayo Idowu continue to pursue excellence across business, innovation, and social impact. You see, I took my time to go through everything because normally
That's a lot.
that's a lot, yeah. So normally I always tell my girls, tell us your story. He's a veteran, he's not a young man like that. So I don't want to disturb him because I don't want the teacher to be pressed for time and all that. So Bio, straight to the point. What are you teaching? What are you teaching? Why are you teaching? Why must people be aware? And where and when will they need to apply? Please take your time. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, Ade. Thank you for this, innovative venture that you do. I remember that I spoke to you a few days ago,
Yeah.
and I remember I told you, I don't know how you do it, but it's a lot that you're doing yourself. It's a whole lot, but you're really making a huge impact, in our community and communities at large. So kudos to you. Thank you,
Coming
and also
from you,
thank you.
coming from you, I'll take it. I'm
Oh,
trying to
thank
do
you.
like you, yeah.
And thank you for inviting me as well. And thanks to the listeners as well. So cybersecurity, I mean, I actually started off when I worked at different places, which you already mentioned. So I'm not going to go back there. But I started off when I realized that, especially when I had to sit at the interviewer's seat and I had to interview people with my previous jobs, especially working as, senior managers, directors, senior directors at different places. And I realized that, so many of the people out there, they have the certifications, they have the school degrees. Let me say that's the college degrees, and they have, you know, and they sometimes claim to have the experience as well. But when you sit down with them and talk to them, you realize that they really don't have the substance that it requires to get the job done.
Wow.
So, and I began to really see a gap in that area. And of course, if you look at the statistics, you see that they're still claiming that statistics is still claiming that the global need in the IT, cybersecurity, AI space is
Mhm.
still, there's still a huge need of about 4.2 million people that is still, that's still needed in that area, and they're still looking for people. And I realized that the best way to really fill that gap of, you know that need for many people, that number of people to fill the roles, and the gap of not having the real capable and the competent people, is to use, whatever I have learned in school, whatever I have, acquired, the knowledge I've acquired, and whatever experience I've also garnered, to use that to fill the gap. And that was what birthed, Career Minds. And that name particularly is targeted at people that are looking, to pursue a career, particularly in the area of cybersecurity, AI, and of course, digital transformation as well. And that's what started Career Minds. And then we started, and it was a little slow adoption, of course, because the market has to trust you. People have to trust you. They have to know what you're doing, but with a lot of intensity. But not just intensity, people starting to actually realize that our programs, they are very, very laudable, in the sense that we're bringing programs to the marketplace where just about anyone, whether you're a career switcher or you are already a professional in this industry, or you are looking to learn more, to garner more knowledge, they started to see our curriculum and realize that this is a really good fit for them.
Wow.
Interest started to grow, and we began to see a lot of adoption. But of course, our legacy business started with cybersecurity itself, and we still have the cybersecurity, okay? But of course, when we say cybersecurity, we're talking about a field of IT where you are trained, to, secure the environment and fight against, the attackers. I'm just going to keep it simple as that because we don't really want to begin to use jargons, especially for those that are joining for the first time. Now, it started with cybersecurity, and we broke our, curriculum down into three, where one part of the curriculum, which is mainly the governance part, it targets the leaders of any organizations, or I mean, an organization rather, where you have, stakeholder management, you have governance, risk, compliance, decision making. It sits right there. And then we have another part which is mostly targeted at, the technical people, the people that are, securing the environment, that work in security operations, that work in network engineering, that work in infrastructure, that work in all of those different parts, people that are securing the environment and that are installing different tools and different tools and maintaining the tools within the environment, either to, I mean, both, not either, both to, enhance, you know, uh, uh, the production environment, and also to secure, the production environment as well. And then we have also the entire workforce, which is another segment where we are training the people generally about the, you know, the uh, the the health, or the health of the environment, how to make sure that the hygiene, let me put it that way, the hygiene of the environment, how to secure the environment, and how to avoid common, errors or common attacks like phishing, social engineering, ransomware attacks, by just not clicking on anything, or just not taking any course, or getting information, giving readily information to anyone that calls on the phone without going through proper authentication. That's how we started, and it started to pick up very well. And then we also have that's the segment that targets organizations, and then we have the other segment that actually targets the mass market, the people that are coming into cybersecurity newly, and we're taking them from right from the start, from the fundamentals of cybersecurity into understanding cybersecurity technologies, where AI, machine learning, um, um, uh, 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 cloud computing, and all of those, where they come in, into also going into assessment, that's cybersecurity assessment, even all the way to cybersecurity project management, communications, in cybersecurity communications, and a whole bunch. We have that's been going on, and we're also on Udemy and of Coursera. These courses are there, and they're doing good there. But when we realized that the world is actually moving a lot faster, and we thought that we needed to move fast with it, we decided to now go into, just create two offshoots of our cybersecurity courses. I mean, which is the GRC, but not just the GRC. We're now looking into the AI-enabled cyber GRC, where AI is taking completely over. It's taking over completely, the entire, workings of governance, risk, and compliance. So we have a 12 session course where we start with the traditional, GRC, because if you have to understand how AI hijacks, GRC, now you have to understand the traditional GRC itself. We start with the traditional GRC, and we go gradually into how AI.
What GRC for the privilege of people that are not very vast in this the tech world?
I'm sorry, say that again now.
The meaning of GRC.
Yes, GRC, the meaning of GRC is governance, risk, and compliance. It's a subset of cybersecurity on its own. And what that does is mostly is the second tier of the entire IT organization. The very first tier, you have the technical people, where you have the engineering, the infrastructure people, and all of that, the security operations, those people that are working the technical. That's the first tier. The second tier is the GRC, which is the governance, risk, and compliance level.
Yeah,
And then the third tier is where you have the leaders, where you have the board and you have the executive. So it sits in the second tier, and it's like the broker. Well, we can say the middleman between the leaders and the people below them, because that's where policies are birthed. That's where policies, procedures, um, guidelines, standards. That's where they are formed, and they go to the leaders, and the leaders approve them, and then they pass them down to the first tier, which are the engineering people, where they implement those technical, initiatives or those technical tools. Do you get that? So
yeah.
that's the GRC. So now we're creating an offshoot within that, you know, complete environment, created offshoot of the GRC, AI-enabled GRC. So we carved that out where we're training people on governance, risk, and compliance, starting with the traditional GRC and graduate all the way to the AI-enabled GRC for them to see the power of AI taking over, governance, risk, and compliance, and see the effectiveness. So what would otherwise take a governance person or compliance person or risk person 1 week, 2 weeks, like 40, 80, 100 hours of work is now being completed with, in a jiffy with AI within sometimes 1 minute, sometimes 5 minutes. It's unimaginable how this has happened. But then the other offshoot is the one that we'll call the IT and AI frameworks, where we begin to a boot camp, IT and AI framework boot camp, where we bring in all of the frameworks, and we have 34 of those frameworks within the IT and AI space. We're training people on all of these frameworks, but of course, the very first session will be a general training on what each of these frameworks, what they mean, what they stand for, how they are used within, the IT, environment, and what the effect of their work, and then we take that all the way to then they narrow it down to the major frameworks like NIST, ISO, PCI DSS, GDPR, SOC 2, and so on and so forth. And then after that, we take them to the level of, now AI, how AI affects all of these frameworks, because now each of these frameworks are now being really affected and taken over by AI completely. So on how AI actually has had its impact on those frameworks. And then the last part of that bootcamp will be where people will now serve as, we now have what's it called, a simulation, a live simulation of, the auditor using these frameworks and the auditees that they are, auditing with those frameworks. So we have the role play, people will swap, we will have, you one group acting as the auditor, the other group acting as the auditee, and then they swap so that they can have practical experience, so they can have, the wherewithal that it takes to go out there, not only to get a job, but to even enhance, because some of these people are actually business owners that are joining our training now. So that you can use that to enhance your business as well, or you can take that out to sit in front of any interviewer and get a job. Or if you already have a job, so you can, take this, to your company if they haven't been implementing these practices already. So you can be, a change maker, or someone that brings, new tidings, good tidings to their company. So in a nutshell, that's about it.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? I mean, everybody's talking about AI, agentic, Anthropic, Gemini AI. It's all about AI. Don't you think the AI revolution itself is taking us away from some other important aspect of the cyber world? For example, we're talking phishing, hacking, and all that. What don't you think we're being distracted from some other fundamentals, or are they related?
Yeah, so there's so much related. You're not being taken away,
Mm,
because AI can act in two ways. It can be an enabler,
Okay.
or it can also be it, your downfall,
Mm.
meaning that the attackers, what would normally take an attacker to crack a password or to compose a phishing email, make an example of the phishing email, to compose a phishing email, for you to compose a very good phishing email before AI, you really have to sit down very well, because there were so many mechanisms that are used by companies to, detect, a phishing email, either bad language, bad syntax, wrong URL. There's so many things that you can use. Okay. And they were training their own people, to do that. So the attacker or the attackers, they they would have to sit down very well to compose a very good, convincing, plausible email, phishing email, to send out to people, so that those common, attack vectors would not be. But but with AI, when AI came, with AI, using AI, it it really it the help that it gives them, it's just like this: within a very short time, within like a second, they already compose a very good, because all you need to do is just tell AI what you want, and it composes for you. And those emails are so difficult to detect, extremely difficult to detect, because they are like near perfect emails, efficient emails that are created. That's on one side. On the other side, you could also use AI, to prevent such, attacks from happening. Okay, by training your people, you can use AI to train your people on how to detect phishing emails. But not that alone. Even before they get to you, a lot of technologies that you use to detect, phishing emails, or to detect external attacks, they're now being infused with AI, that even before they land with you, the user, we're talking about you, a regular user, you regular employee,
Employer.
those systems, they already have been loaded. They already have been loaded with AI capabilities to prevent, such attacks coming. So it's either or. So, but either way you look at it, AI has a huge impact. It's not distracting. It's actually helping. It's actually helping, and it's helping both sides. As it helps the attacker, it's also helping, the person, the target, the person that you're targeting. Yes,
Oh God. So it's a function of application, right? It's
it
either
is
your
a function of,
application
yes.
that
It
is.
is, yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
So now there are people say, okay, some companies already laid off quite a chunk. Some have even banned the use of AI in their office system, while some are happy about the productivity, some are also saying that it's increasing indolence, mental laziness. Everybody now reverts to AI for this and that. Now, do you think, as good as the AI revolution is, what do you think are the minuses? What do you think are the negatives that comes with it? Are there any?
There is always going to be a negative, and the truth about it is, some people may argue that it encourages indolence and stuff.
Mhm.
But do you look at it, on the other hand, that it also encourages effectiveness in terms of the man hour that you need to put into a task? Like 40 hours, AI can get it done in 40 seconds. And it means that this, it produces, 10 times, 15 times, 100 times, 1,000 times effectiveness in your environment. Now, you are talking about indolence, but what about this human worker that is laboring for 40 hours and is tired and is prone to mistakes, a lot of mistakes, okay? And you still got to pay that person for, the wages for their effort. And the AI that you have a subscription, that gets that done, And AI also makes mistakes. Don't get me wrong, because it also makes it. That's why you have to always check to make sure the work of the AI is done well and it's in accordance to your objectives. But at the same time, at the same token, if you manage it very well, AI makes it rarely makes mistakes, even though it does make mistakes, but rarely makes mistakes because you got to monitor it very
I
well
think
and
it also boils
do the
down to what you feed it with.
that's what I'm saying. What you feed into it, and
Yeah.
that's it's exactly what you feed into it. And that's a different part of AI entirely. Because when you use grounded AI, it means AI that's grounded. It has sources to pull information from, and those sources are credible sources to pull from, not just the public, general public. If you're looking at general public, a lot of things are going around in on social media, and AI just knows how to pull. And whatever it pulls is what it pulls. It may not check whether it's factual or not. But that's by the way. But the point I'm trying to say is that people may argue that, yes, it encourages indolence. Yeah, but it brings a lot more effectiveness. It's now up to you, the person that was was having to research, to study, to work hard, to go and start improving yourself in other areas, so that indolence and apathy and dullness of brain does not happen to you. That's one. Then when you're talking about AI taking people's jobs, look, AI, I'm not sure AI is really here to take people's job. Rather, it's here to help people, to get better at what they do. But this is the difference, though. This is the caveat.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are doing the work of you're doing mundane tasks, especially those tasks that are perhaps more administrative, that are more repetitive, that are more repetitive, administrative, more what's it called now? What's it called? When you're putting information input, data input, and things like that, AI is
Copy
completely
and paste kind of stuff.
yes, AI is completely taking over
Mhm.
those. And as a human being that's looking to improve their careers, but not just that, improve their learning, improve their wherewithal, you should not stay in one place anyway. What AI is doing is that it's taking over those things that are mundane, that can be taken over, that are repetitive, and then it's giving the decision making to you. So now you are the decision maker. You're supposed to be the decision maker. You're supposed to be the strategic person and the tactical person that is working on deciphering on the use of AI, why it is necessary, the work that AI does, oversee it, and manage the work that it does, present it to the stakeholders, and prove it and make them approve of it. That's what AI is leaving that role for you. But AI is not just leaving that role for you. Even regulations, leave that room for you. So if you've always been in the mundane task area, doing all those daily, mundane tasks, and you think you're happy and you're happy and you're taking tea,
Yeah.
you need to begin now to go to the higher level of learning the use of AI and how you can be the one making the decisions regarding AI, the use of AI. Why must you use it? Which AI should you use? Which vendor should you use? What is the work that AI produces? How do you make sure the work is done well? How do you present it to the stakeholders? What is the return on investment on it? All of those things are your
Okay.
job to.
We're pressed for time. I still have two more questions for you. So
Yes.
quickly, the first one will be for people that are new to it, right? And probably want to patronize your academy, which areas should they really go in? Is it machine learning? Which specifics? You understand what I'm trying to say? Now, let me add okay, let me you finish that one so that I can say the third one. Which areas do you think people should really go into? Because we just say AI, which is artificial intelligence, but it's divided into so many areas. You understand? There are so many strata
Yes.
of it and layers. Which one is lucrative, which one It's easy to, which one does not require coding. Some people can't code, no matter how much they try. You understand? Which one can be somebody that study history, that doesn't want stress, that the hair can do it. Over to you.
Yes, you're very right. The part of the AI is divided into, and every part of it, depending on how you look at it and what kind of work you do, is lucrative and is promising. Every part of it, because AI boom just came. So, and it's high time that people took over, took advantage of that. But for someone that is not, technical savvy, I can code. I'm not a coder.
Mhm.
Okay. But I understand cybersecurity well. When I went to cybersecurity, I didn't understand how to code, but I understand how to manage cybersecurity and how to. So my
I
point is
don't.
that
I never liked IP address. Yeah, it's
so,
network security. I hated IP, and it's so simple. I think I've learned it
yeah,
out.
it is simple, but it depends on your people's interest. For me, it's always been on the high level of governance, everything that I have done. So my point is that anyone that really cannot go too much into coding and programming and all of that of the AI, in which case that's very, very lucrative as well. It's extremely lucrative if you know that part. The best part for you to go is to go into AI management itself, which is the governance, risk and compliance part of AI. The governance part, especially, this is very huge
Mm,
because every organization now uses AI, but they do not know how to govern it.
mm,
That's the problem. It's like you having a robot. You have a robot is doing the work for you. You're asking to do some work, but you do not know how to govern that robot. Not just governing the robot internally inside your house, but what about the other regulations that surround that robot on the use of robot for
mm.
ethical reasons? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That is why
The robot,
governance,
the robot could be dangerous at the end of the day if not properly managed, right?
if it's not governed well, if it's not managed well, and it's not just only going to hurt you, it's going to hurt other people as well.
Mhm.
That's why AI governance is a big one, and
Mm.
people should rush towards that because it's just beginning now to gain traction, a lot of traction. It's gained a lot of traction in Europe, but US slowed down a little bit, but now every company, every organization is now looking to know, how do we even govern this thing? We're using it already, but we don't know how to govern it. Laws, regulations, standards, all of those things surround it. How do we understand that? That is what we are teaching.
Fantastic. My final question to you is, I've seen people say, okay, if you want to write a letter, use ChatGPT. If you want to, so for example, if you're editing a video, use Claude. So that's my final question. What do you recommend for each of those names? I mean, it's not like an advert, but from your professional perspective, you understand. I mean, for example, Gemini AI, it's known, they have their own reputation for editing and working like Google also. You can do fantastic search engine for facts and all that. You understand? Even WhatsApp have theirs now and all that. So now the anthropic people, they're always eventing. Recently, Fable 5 was stopped by the US government, but I understand that Claude has been told to start using it again. So I think Claude is all like compassing. ChatGPT has its own limitations. There are people that will tell you that, oh, ChatGPT, for example, as government monitors, it doesn't do this or. So from your professional perspective, which brand do you recommend for particular things? People, okay, like me now, I do all these videos. We have to edit. You understand? Now there are apps we can use to do this. So, what do you recommend? Even for music, there are AI applications for those kind of things. So, what do you recommend? Over to you. That's my
It
last question to you.
it's very broad, and honestly, you would excuse me from making recommendations, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Mm,
Because
mm.
I use three AI platforms and I use them for different purposes. For example, if I want to do research, I use Perplexity.
Okay,
If I
perfect.
want to Yes, if I want to do content creation, I use ChatGPT. But if I want to build designs and stuff, I use, Claude. Those are the three ones that I use. I've used Genie before. There are so many of these platforms out there, but and they're called LLMs. But the problem though is that every one of them is competing for attention, and there's always conflict to say this one is more capable with this one, and the other one is more capable. And most of those things are sponsored. Most of the things that we read, they're usually sponsored, to promote one AI model over the other. And for us not to really get into that hole of promoting for them, I usually stay away from it. I only just tell people this is what I use. I use Perplexity for for research. I use ChatGPT content creation, and for designs I use Claude, and those have been really extremely effective for me. Now once in a while I go to compare Gemini, go to compare the Microsoft one, what's this called again, Copilot, and so on and so forth. But I'm just not really too much in tune with them. Those three ones that I use have been very most effective for me. But the good news is that for simple tasks, if you're not going into advanced tasks, okay. So some people say DeepSeek is very good for mathematical. I don't do mathematical stuff, so but people are really crazy about this thing for mathematical stuff. But for me, for anyone that is listening, that is not a guru, that just needs AI for simple tasks, that across the board, there is not a single one of them that is not good enough for performing simple tasks. Whether you want to create content, you want to write an email, you want to submit a proposal, you want to write to your lawyer, or even write to a business partner, all of them will be able to help you. But don't forget, all of them are prone to mistakes as well, because they are not grounded. They're pulling from public information. A grounded one will be the one that is used specifically for a purpose, and it's being fed with data that they need it to work on and expand on and analyze on. That is grounded. But with a lot of, all of these LLMs also have the grounded part of their system as well. But most of them are not grounded because they pull from public, sources. And when you pull from public sources, you're prone to mistakes, and you're prone to hallucination, you're prone to bias, you're prone to all of those things, and they come from time to time. You have to check to make sure when AI gives you something, always check to make sure it is right and it is accurate and it can serve you.
Okay. So what's the name of your academy? I know I mentioned a career mind, but it's good to hear from you.
Yes. Career Minds Academy. That's what it is. And you can get there from www.thecareerminds.org. The Career Minds. It comes with the Career Mind. We couldn't get Career Minds itself. It's been taken. So we'll put the Career Minds,
We'll put it in the chat box on the information space for all those. And so if they want to reach out to you, will they do it through the website, or you have a phone number you also want us to put there?
Yes, you can reach out to us through the website. You can reach out to us. We have emails on the website, but you also can reach out to me through, the number 240-817-9252. That is +1 240-817-9252.
Okay, I've written that down. I'll get your email, but I'll put everything there. Bayo, thank you so much. I like the fact that you're giving back. You've been around, you paid your dues, but you're still abreast with everything going on. So I have that to learn from you. I'm keeping abreast too. I'm scaling too every day. I have kids that are scaling. And I have to mentor them also. I have people that look up to me. So it does look like being old is not age that you use to dominate in the present world. You have to be technologically savvy. You must have knowledge. Yeah, you must have knowledge. On our sister program, State of the Nation, when I interview for politics, you understand, I do a lot of reading. a lot of reading, because you also have to be ahead of your guests. So most of them are in the lecture. So, Bayo, once again, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Trust me, you will be back. And to all our viewers, let's say a big thank you to Bayo for doing what he does for us all the time. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Eddie. Bye. Yeah.